You know, there have been a lot of blogs and videos done about all the problems with the new 2018 Goldwing, and I've even put out my own video on the 10 things that I think Honda needs to fix on this new bike. But you know, there's a lot of things to love about this new bike, and I think it's only fair that we talk about those things. So I've picked out the 10 things that I really love about this new Honda Goldwing. You know, the new Goldwing's a lot smaller than the previous Goldwing, and I think it's a good thing. I like the smaller size. I like it. I think it's easier to handle. It's certainly easier to get up on the center stand. I think it's just a more manageable platform and footprint than the previous Goldwing. So I give the size, weight of the bike a real thumbs up. You know, one thing I really love about this new bike is the styling. I really kind of like the angular design. I think the previous Goldwing was really due for an update on the styling, and I think Honda did a really good job. I love the LED lights and kind of how they set off the front end of the bike. The bike is just a better looking bike than it was before. So I give the styling a thumbs up, and I also think the paint, the look of the paint, there's some issues with fit and finish, but the paint quality itself is actually very good, and in the sunlight it just looks amazing. So I think Honda did a good job on the styling. Honda completely redesigned this engine pretty much from the ground up, and it's 1833 cc's, flat six, almost identical to the previous engine, except there's 24 valves, and it's a smaller, more compact engine. And now it's also mated to a 6-speed manual transmission or a 7-speed DCT. I think Honda did a pretty good job of re-engineering an entirely new engine on a platform which really had a reputation for having a great engine. You know, the old Goldwing, previous Goldwing, was an excellent engine, and maybe even a little bit smoother than this new engine. But this thing's got tons of torque. At the low end, you know, like starting about 1400 RPM, you've got a ton of torque in this bike. So I think Honda did a really good job with the engine and the transmission, and now you have a choice of a 6-speed manual or the DCT. And I just think it's a great combination. It's one of the things I love about this bike. You know, Honda completely redid all of their switchgear on this new Goldwing, and I think they did an amazing job. I love the console. I love the hand controls. The buttons, for the most part, are really easy to reach. They could have been done a little better on the horn button, but everything really overall is very good. You don't have the multitude of buttons and switches like we had on the previous Goldwing. Everything can pretty much be controlled from this little switch over here on the left hand grip, and that's really just a great feature. So I think Honda did an excellent job. The switchgear all feels like it's really high quality and good. It's one of the areas I think Honda did a great job, and I love the controls, and that includes the dash. The dash is a very nice display, 7-inch TFT screen. I love all the different computer functions that you can see with mileage and everything else. So I think overall the visual package of the cockpit is really one of the best things I love about this bike. You know, another great feature of the DCT version of this bike are the 4 different ride modes you get. This is something really cool. So not only do you have the standard tour mode, but you also have a rain mode, an econ mode, and a sport mode. And they've dramatically changed the feel of this motorcycle. I've been testing out the econ mode. In fact, I'm going to do a video just about that here in a little bit. But it really does make a difference in your gas mileage. And the ability to change these ride modes on the fly is really a cool feature. So if you have the DCT model, the ride modes are really a super advantage of this bike. You know, a lot of people online are complaining about the fact that the bike has a smaller gas tank. I'm pointing here because that's normally where the gas tank is. It's actually under the seat. This bike has a 5.5 gallon fuel tank compared to, say, 6.6 on the previous Goldwing. But you know, one of the things I love about this bike is they've improved the gas mileage. You know, I mentioned earlier about econ mode, and it really does make a difference. I'm averaging anywhere from 42 to 43 miles per gallon just in normal commuting, around town type driving. A little bit of highway, but mostly around town. I couldn't even come close to that on my 2012. I was lucky to get maybe 35. So this bike does get better gas mileage, especially if you're in sport mode, that may not be the case. But in econ mode, it's really superb. So I think the range of this motorcycle on the highway is going to be comparable to the previous Goldwing. I really don't think the smaller gas tank is that big of an issue. Certainly not a reason to not buy this bike. So I love the extra gas mileage we're getting on the new Goldwing. You may have heard me mention this on other videos, but I love the electric windshield on this bike. Honda did a really good job with the integration of this electric windscreen. You know, when it's hot out and you're, say, in local traffic and it's starting to get hot, you can lower it down to the lowest level, get a little more air coming across your body, cool you off. If you're on the highway and you've got a lot of wind, you can raise it up higher, block the wind. I mean, if you've never had a bike with an electric windshield, don't knock it until you try it. It's a huge advantage of this motorcycle, and I think it's something that Honda did a great job with the engineering. The windscreens are very easy to swap out now. It's 4 bolts and it's off. So the electric windscreen is one of the things I really love about this bike. You know, we've been asking Honda for years for Bluetooth connectivity on the Goldwing, and they answered, and I think they did a pretty good job with it. It's pretty easy to pair up a Bluetooth headset. I've tried the Sena and the Cardo, and both of them pair up very easily. I think it's just a great benefit to this bike. It's something we've been asking for years. There were some third-party solutions out there for the previous Goldwing, but they were $400 or $500 just to have Bluetooth integrated on your bike. So I think the Bluetooth integration on this bike is a really big advantage, and something that I'm excited about, and one of the things I love about the bike. Okay, I got to get down low to talk about this one. Not easy for somebody with a broken rib, trust me. But anyway, one of the things I love about this bike, and I know it's gotten a lot of criticism, there's a lot of videos out there slamming the new suspension. I like the suspension on the new bike. It's so much better, so much more comfortable than the previous Goldwing. Now, I'm not a sport rider. I don't carve canyons every day at high speed. So yeah, maybe the suspension could benefit from better components or aftermarket solutions, but I think the suspension on the 2018 Goldwing is far superior to anything we've ever seen on a Goldwing. I like the suspension and I'll defend it, so I think it's a good riding bike. Go test ride it for yourself if you don't believe me. If you think the suspension's no good, then you can always go to the aftermarket, but I personally like it. Now, while I'm down here, I'm going to talk about one other thing I love about this bike, and that is, even though you can't see it, there's a valve stem over there, and that underneath that valve stem is a TPS monitor. And this motorcycle has real TPMS, unlike the previous Goldwing. On the previous model, you had an idiot light on the dash, and if one of your tires was low, it would flash. But on this bike, you can actually see the actual tire pressure of each tire live as you're going down the road. That's a huge advantage, much better solution than what we had before. So good job to Honda for putting in a real TPMS system. It's one of the things I love about this bike. Well, as you can see, there's a lot to love about this new 2018 Goldwing. Now, I've just mentioned 10 of my favorites, but there's a lot more stuff on this bike, and I'm sure that everybody out there has their own 10 things or their own 5 things or their own 20 things that they really love about the new Goldwing. This is an amazing motorcycle, bar none. This is a great bike. It's one that you should look at and consider, and I highly recommend that you go test ride one as soon as you can, because I think you're going to fall in love with it. If you really like this video, please take the time to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to leave your comments down below. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and theglforum.com. And don't forget, if you have a 2001 to 2017 Honda Goldwing or F6B, check out my DVDs and on-demand videos at cruisemansgarage.com. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll see you next time on Cruiseman's Garage.